Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an advanced Dungeons and Dragons advice video. I'm titling this one Milking Your Players. Before I get into this though, if you enjoy my content, it would really help me out if you could hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share my content on all of your platforms, and post a comment or two. Remember, I welcome your comments even if you disagree with me. And check me out over on Rumble for my political commentary and weekly current events. If you enjoy a good book, check out my author page on Amazon.com. My pen name is H.L. Anderson. You can find all of my books there, including the Devo Poland Chronicles. There's two so far. I'm working on the third. It's science fiction set in the future. It's a study of humanity from an alien perspective. Humanity has made friends with an alien race called the Gandiri. They're peaceful pacifists, and they get picked on by everybody. And they're giving the humans advanced technology in exchange for the humans teaching them how to fight. Because they don't know. They're pacifists. And I'm hoping it's going to be a good series. Like I said, I got two out already. The first one is Vanguard 1. The second one is Task Force Terminus. The third one, I have the working title is Gulag of the Damned, and I'm hoping that I can keep that title because I kind of like it. At any rate, I hope you get them, and I hope you enjoy them. All right, milking your players. One of the things players never seem to understand is that encumbrance really is a bitch. I did a video on that, by the way, by the same name, as a matter of fact. Check it out. As a dungeon master, you can overlook a lot of that in the spirit of the game. Player characters need armor, they need weapons, supplies, etc. One thing I recommend you never overlook is coinage. By rule, every 10 coins weighs 1 pound. Regardless of the type of coin, each one weighs 1/10 of a pound. 10 coins equals a pound. The adventurer coming off a successful trip with 10,000 gold coins is carrying 1,000 pounds of gold. I had a crappy dungeon master once who charged me 100,000 gold pieces for a horse. That horse was too stupid to drink water from the river and too stupid to eat grass by the side of the road, and it died. Yeah. That horse cost 10,000 pounds of gold. I don't recall bringing a number of wagons to the negotiations, but there you go. There are items that help carry a lot of stuff, like bags of holding, portable holes, that kind of thing, but those items are exceedingly expensive. Barring such items, carrying a lot of money, a lot of wealth, is a tricky thing. There's money and then there's wealth. Okay? Wealth is value. Money is coinage. Okay? Huge difference. The ways for player characters to carry excessive wealth do exist. There are ways to carry thousands of gold in value without being burdened by literally tons of gold, and without having magical items. One way is to buy jewelry, rings, necklaces, bracelets, etc., and wear them. These items can be worth a lot of gold and weigh next to nothing. You may lose a small percentage when you sell them, like haggling and the like, but the inherent value is still there. Why do you think pirates wore all those earrings and rings and jewelry and all? They weren't trying to be flashy. They couldn't carry all the gold they had. Gold is heavy. As a dungeon master, it behooves you to keep your players, that's going to sound bad, to keep your player characters cash poor. Wealthy player characters tend to splurge on expensive and excessive amounts of magic items and other extravagances. Some player characters will purchase land and or titles. Such player characters alter the dynamic of your game. I have lost count of the number of players who create a second character to run in the game when their primary character becomes wealthy enough to quote-unquote retire. Invariably, the second player character is related to the first in some way and can therefore go to this wealthy relative for perks like gold and gear. Yeah, you got to watch out for that. That'll happen in a heartbeat. Oh, I'm going to back to daddy and get some gold so I can buy blah blah blah. No, that you can't. No, that the second player character has nothing to do with the first. You have to instill that. Otherwise, they're going to be milking that first character for everything. And if you allow it, they'll do it. I'm just saying. As a dungeon master, there are tons of reasons to keep a player character poor. Encumbrance and retirement are just two of them. My favorite reason is that player characters with no money are desperate and have a reason to adventure. Hunger is a viable motivator. The ways I use to milk my player characters of excess wealth are many and varied. Tolls, tithes, fees, taxes, etc. are one way. I did a video on those. Go check them out. Thieves are a great way to dispose of gold. A nameless, faceless cut purse in a crowd is almost impossible to track, and they flourish in every city. Even thief player characters will be at a loss. You can't do this to excess, however, because this can create hurt feelings between player and dungeon master. I recommend having everyone roll a d6, and then you make a random roll between the ones who rolled the highest on their d6. These player characters had a lapse in attention or were distracted somehow, did not see the thief approaching, something like that. And what this does is it allows the players to believe it was all random, and technically it is. So technically, but the trick is, you're trying to teach your players not to be flashy, because thieves are attracted to flashy. Okay. Another way I use is to haggle for any items that they purchase. Standard rations, rooms at the inn, meals at a restaurant, stabling their horses, etc. are pretty cheap in my world. I usually go 5 to 10% above book price, or I set a price based on the economy of the area. Base price for a room is usually a silver piece per night, or a gold piece for a large room that sleeps 25 to 30 people. A guard for their room will run 2 to 10 silver pieces per night, depending on the quality of the guard that they want and what's available. A meal can run 10 copper to 2 silver, depending on quality. Stabling a horse with reasonable food, water, care is usually 1 to 2 silver pieces a night. However, iron rations, weapons, armor, or other luxury items start at 50% above book price and will increase if the player character has been flashing a lot of cash around. Magic items start at double book price and will increase if the player character has been flashing a lot of cash around or looks like they can afford a lot. Appearances when you enter a shop are everything on both sides. Selling items to a shop will never, ever, under any circumstances, equal or exceed book price. A player character wants a +2 sword, and he wants to cover some of the cost by trading in a +1 spear, for example. The shop owner will never give full book price for that +1 spear. If the player character has saved the kingdom and preserved the shop owner's way of life and the virtue of his daughter, then maybe that might be worth a solid 90 to 95% of the book value of that spear. Barring that, I might go as high as 60 to 70% at best. Remember, the shop owner is in business to make money. He has taxes to pay as well. Keeping player characters poor is a great way to keep them adventuring. Fat and wealthy player characters tend to not care if they explore the ruins of the old tower at the edge of the Orklands. However, hungry player characters who don't know where their next meal is coming from look at that same set of ruins as a Nazi bank being guarded by stormtroopers behind enemy lines, a la Kelly's Heroes. Any gold or riches they get from that bank is theirs to keep, and they may get an award for eliminating a few orcs. After all, the only good Nazi is a dead Nazi, right? If your player characters flash a lot of cash and look like they have more than a few coins to rub together, they should find the cost of living to increase. And the shop prices may very well skyrocket. You gotta love that cutthroat capitalism, right? Many players these days balk at high prices, and they're like, well, that's not what it says in the book. Yeah, book price varies. That's all I'm saying. I hope this helps. And again, I'm not trying to tell you how to run your game. I'm just trying to help you make your game better. Player characters who are carrying 1,000 pounds of gold, they're not running fast. Chances are they're not walking. They're kind of burdened by. They might actually be dead under the weight of that gold. So I'm just saying. You got to look at the book prices. You got to look at the haggling. You got to look at thieves. You got to look at taxes, tithes, tolls, etc. There are ways to milk your players legally in the game that make sense according to your plot. I'm just saying. Hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all.